Today you're going to do a review of the lesson that we did on Monday in our Green Sentence Writing Strategies book. One of the things that I noticed a lot of people doing incorrectly was still recognizing imposters, prepositional phrases that weren't actually prepositional phrases, and we had a lot of trouble with helping verbs. So I want to remind you that in your green book, when you're doing those practice sentences, you have pages at the beginning that list all your prepositions, your helping verbs, and your linking verbs. And you also have these in your interactive notebook. So what I want you to do right now is take your interactive notebook out, go find it. This, I believe, we glued on the very, very last page, and it's kind of nice because it has everything in one place. And you'll see that we've got the formula for a prepositional phrase at the top, for an infinitive, our linking verbs to the side, our prepositions, and then our helping verbs. One of the things I noticed being done incorrectly was, first of all, identifying our helping verbs. Remember, if they're helping, hence their name helping, they're going to be helping another verb that comes after it. Could play, should go, would run. Immediately following this verb is going to be another verb. If you can find another verb after it, or there could be two or three, could be going. You could have three verbs together. All the ones that come in front are helping verbs, and the ones that come after it are either action or linking. One of the things I said in class, and I knew someone was going to do it, and I think I had 3 people do it, you'll never ever have a linking verb with an action verb. It's always going to be a helping verb with an action verb or a helping verb with a linking verb. But you'll never, ever, ever see a linking verb and an action verb together. Our linking verbs we have to be especially careful with because they could be used as all 3. They can be linking. These can also be helping, and they can also be action if they're by themselves. There's nothing that follows them that links them back to the subject. So these particular 8 are very, very tricky. So as you do the reviews exercises, know that if you check Infinite Campus, which you should have, I'm going to give you the better grade if you do this assignment better than the one that you did Monday. So I'm going to reteach it. We're going to do some more examples, and then I'll give you the grade for the better one. So make sure you take your time. All right, so Carl changed the flat tire and took it to be fixed. The first step in our mark strategy is to mark out any imposters. So if you don't know your prepositions list or prepositions, you're going to look at that list and look to see if you see any prepositions on there. And I see the word to. Now in my head, I know that to is a special one. If it's followed by a verb, it's an infinitive. If it's followed by a noun, then it's a prep phrase. And I see be, and so I know that that's an infinitive. So now the next step is to ask if there's a verb. So again, I'm going to look at my list and see, do I see any verbs in here that are either on my helping or linking verbs list? And I don't. I do know that change is something that I can do, and took is something that I can do. So those are both verbs. Now I have to decide if they're action or linking. Well, I know they're action because they're not on either of my lists. Now to find the subject, I'm going to ask myself who or what changed the flat tire and took it to be fixed. That would be Carl. I had a lot of people finding and identifying the subject in the middle of the 2 verbs as a subject. So think about that. If I thought tire was a subject, would I say the tire changed the flat tire? That wouldn't make a lot of sense. So on your paper, when I check it tomorrow, this is the right answer. Now let's look at 2. The train pulled into the station and then sped away quickly. Going to mark out any imposters. Going to look at my prepositions list and see if I see a word on there that's on my list, and I see the word into. Into is a preposition. Into what? Into the station. So I'm going to mark that off and label it prepositional phrase. Now I'm going to look for verbs. I'm going to look to see, are there any verbs on here that are on my helping verbs or linking verbs list? And I don't see any. So now I'm going to look for some action verbs. What are some actions that can be done? I could pull and sped. Now, I kind of talked about this in class on Monday, but when you see and, you know that you're going to have two of something. It's either going to be two subjects or two verbs. So pulled and sped are both verbs, and I know they're both action verbs. Now I want to ask myself, who or what pulled into the station and sped away? The train. Now normally you would do these with a partner, but because I'm not there to check them, I'm just going to go ahead and do them for you right now. Our car has many dents, but can be repaired. I'm going to look for any imposters. I'm going to look in here. Do I see any words that are on my prepositions list? And there aren't any. So I'm going to go to the next thing and ask, are there any verbs? And I want to first look to see if there are any verbs that are on my list. And I see the verb has. I see the verb can. I see be. Oh, and I should have underlined repaired as well. Now, has here is a helping verb if following it, immediately closely following it, there's another verb. Now, I can't many, so has, if it's by itself, is an action verb. It can't be a helping verb because it's not helping anything. Now I'm going to look at can. Can, I see following or right in front of another verb, so I know that's a helping verb. Be, I did this incorrectly, but that's actually an action verb or helping verb. And then repaired is going to be my action verb. So on your paper, you should be changing this. Helping verb and action verb. Repaired is something that can be done. All right, war has its price and can destroy people and places. I'm going to look on my list. Do I see any imposters? Do I see any prepositions in here? And I do not. So now I'm going to look for some verbs. I see has on my helping verbs list. I see can on my helping verbs list. And I know that destroy is an action. That's something that can be done. So now I have to decide, is has being used as a helping verb? Is there a verb immediately following it that it's helping? And it's not. So if there's nothing that it's helping, it's being used as an action verb. Here I can see that can and destroy work together. Can is in front. It's helping the main verb destroy, and destroy is an action verb. Now I'm going to ask myself, who or what has its price and can destroy people? War. The last one, the swimming pool was cleaned and opened on Memorial Day. Looking on here for a word on my list, and I see on, even though it's hidden right now. On is a preposition. On Memorial Day is a prepositional phrase. Now I'm going to look for some verbs. I see was on my list of both helping and linking verbs, so I'm going to have to think about this one a little more. I know that clean and open are both verbs. So now I can see that was is immediately in front of another verb, so it must be helping it along. And then cleaned and opened are action verbs. Now I want to ask myself, who or what was cleaned and opened on Memorial Day? The pool. So at this point, we've just done 5 more together. You're going to go do the other 5 that are at the bottom of the paper, and I'm going to grade these. And the one that you get the better grade, if you got anything less than a 5, which is the perfect score on Mondays, you want to do a much better job on here, and I will give you the higher grade.